Welcome, fight fans, to another edition of Rolling with the Punches. Today we have the star from San Diego, Giovani, El Gallo de Oro, Santillan, undefeated, 26-0. He's going to be talking to us about what the future holds in front of him. But right now we're going to go to the other side of the coast with our one and only David Contreras. David, how are you doing out there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida?
You know what, Jaime? We're doing well. We're getting ready for a hurricane to hit us probably this either Sunday night or Monday morning. There's supposedly Eta supposed to hit us. So we're set. We got all the furniture in the house, and we got enough water. We have enough food, and I think we're set, you know? But other than that, you know, I'm excited because we have El Gallo de Oro with us. I'll tell you, man, thank you very much for agreeing to be on our show. I saw your last fight with Antonio De Marco. Man, talking about a rock'em sock'em fight, huh?
Yeah.
Man, what a fight, man. And how was it, man, being that was your first time, your second time fighting in Vegas. What was your first time in the bubble? Tell us about that. How was that in the bubble?
It was cool. Good experience. You know, I get asked a lot about the whole no having a crowd, thing. And to be honest, I don't think at the end of the day when you're in there, I don't think it even matters. You know, you're in there and it's just you and your opponent. So I don't think that changed anything. But it was cool. You know, it was a good fight for me, a good learning experience. You know, I went up against an ex-world champion.
Yes.
And I just can't wait at this point. I just can't wait to get back in there because I feel like I gained so much from that fight. You know, it was my first time going the full 10 rounds.
Yeah.
And it was a lot for me to learn, you know, in that fight.
Did you study his fight before? I mean, did you study a lot of film on him?
Yeah, so I've actually seen him. I mean, I've seen him fight for years, even before I turned professional. Back when I was in high school, I would see him fight, you know, already on TV. So I've seen him fight plenty of times, you know.
Yeah. You know, Giovani, I'm a big fan of Tony, and I've never met him, but he's my friend on Twitter, and he's a very religious individual. I don't know if you knew that. I mean, he's always talking about God and always, you know, throwing scriptures. And was he harder than you thought he was going to be? I mean, that guy, he's fought Broner. I mean, he's fought some champions, man. I mean, he's been in the ring. It was great experience for you. So was it what you expected it to be, or did he surprise you? Did his strength, his quickness, his cutting off the ring, did that surprise you a little bit?
I think, you know, we knew he was going to be a tough fight because he had that experience, you know, over me. And it's a fight that when it was brought up to me, I was excited to take that fight because I think that is a great fight for me to gain from, you know, and getting past that, and which we were able to do is get the win, but more importantly, learn from that fight, you know, and I think that'll carry over to my next coming fights, you know.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a tough fighter. Smart in there, and he, you know, for me, there's a lot to learn from him, you know, in that fight.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think you learned the most from that, Jill?
I think it's my first time going the full 10 rounds, so just feeling the 10 rounds, you know, it was a lot for me to gain, knowing that I can do the 10 rounds. You know, there's a lot of work that I got to do when I'm on the inside, you know, that's, I think, where he was most effective. When we were on the inside, he was catching me with those uppercuts. So I got to work on some of that when it comes to my defense on the inside, tightening that up, you know, maybe not leaning in so much for those uppercuts, you know, moving, not staying there in the pocket as long. If I'm going to stay in the pocket, you have to stay active. And sometimes I would get inactive in the pocket. So at that point, I got to move, you know, if I'm not going to be active in there.
Up to date, has he been your toughest opponent?
Absolutely.
Up to date?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Toughest fight to this point for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, man, you got a lot of fans, including us. After I saw that fight, I go, you know what? We got to interview that young man because you know what? You're a future champion. There's no doubt in our mind that you're a future champion. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you come from a boxing family? And if you do come from a boxing family, I mean, how old were you when you decided to put the gloves on and to get in the ring?
No, actually, I'm the first one to box it in my family. As far as I know, I think I'm one of my mom's uncles. He would always tell me stories about, you know, him training and things like that. But I think I'm the first one to actually compete amateur and turn pro and anything like that. And I started when I was 8 years old. There used to be a gym since you're from San Diego, I don't know if you ever remember a gym. It was called man, I can't remember if it was called Mondo's Boxing Gym. I think it was on Imperial Avenue.
On 25th and Imperial, just north of the police station.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yes, that was a crazy area. Yeah,
old school, boxing gym, just straight boxing.
Yeah,
They're probably like, when I went in, there were probably like 1 or 2 other kids. So everybody else is adults. So it was I work at a gym now, and I've worked at gyms over time, over the past few years, and it's different. Like when I started boxing, and when a lot of other kids starting now here in San Diego, it was never a game in the beginning. It's like, all right, we're training with adults. We're serious. We're here to learn.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that because I wanted to actually learn. Once we started, it just very interesting to me just to learn and just pick it up. And I remember the first time I sparred, and it was a great feeling. From then on, I knew this is what I want to do. We just kept doing it every day, and it became almost like going to school. You go to school every day. This is after school I went training as part of the.
Who was kind of your idol though? Who was in your head that you wanted to be like? Who motivated you?
When I was growing up, I didn't watch too much boxing actually. Until I started getting in like more like in 8th grade and going on in high school. That's when I really started watching boxing more. But I used to love watching, and I still do, like Oscar De La Hoya fights back in the 90s. And Marquez, Marquez is one of my favorite fighters to watch, growing up and watching him face Pacquiao all those times.
Yeah.
And, when he finally got that knockout in that 4th fight, that was like one of the most exciting moments for me. Yeah.
And what about your dad? Did he follow Chavez? Was your dad a big boxing aficionado? Your mom and dad?
Yeah, big fan. My dad, huge fan of boxing. And so when we would go to the gym, he was that type of dad. He was always there with me at the gym. He wouldn't just drop me off. He was there watching, learning alongside with me. And for sure, always studying boxing at night, every night.
Who's your coach now? Is he your coach, your dad?
Yeah, so I have my dad and also Danny Perez. He fought Antonio Margarito back in the day. They fought like twice.
Okay.
He was a professional fighter. Yeah.
So did Margarito make him retire after he hit him with those special gloves?
No, I don't know. Yeah, we talked about it. I don't know if he used it back then or anything.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. But
they
fought twice. So yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Go ahead, Jaime.
No, what I was kind of interested is, as a welterweight, what style do you see yourself similar to, or would like to look more like? What welterweight sticks out to you?
A welterweight right now that's actively
or
fighting?
Just in general, just of all time, or even now.
Man, to be honest, I try to pick little things from everybody, when it comes to defense or countering or even just the way they attack. I think you can learn from everybody. So I don't know if there's any one in particular that I'm actually just looking at, but I know that one of the things that my dad and I have talked about is in these coming fights is, we want to put more of a show on it and be more aggressive, but be effective, and using our head movement when we're going forward. Just try to get in there and just be more effective, have a effective aggression, in my fights.
Well, being a southpaw, I mean, how many? Who's a southpaw right now at welter? Jaime, do you remember who else? What other southpaws do we have at welter? I know Crawford could fight southpaw. He fights both, right?
Yeah, he goes back and forth, but as a solid
southpaw. Do you know who's a solid southpaw right now?
Spence, another southpaw.
Oh yeah, Spence. Spence. Yeah.
I would say he would be the top guy. I mean, he's one of the top guys, period. So
him and Crawford, for sure.
Him and Crawford.
Yeah.
Hey Giovani, so being in boxing, being in sports, did that help you? I mean, you grew up part of your life in Logan Heights, and then you moved to Mira Mesa. And did that actually help you stay away from gangs, stay away? Because the area that you grew up with, if I remember correctly, I mean, you're talking about Evans, Ocean View, Samson, that whole area. I mean, that was Calle 30. That was the hardcore gangster area. That was drug area. That was rock cocaine. I mean, did boxing help you stay away from that type of world? I know your parents did, definitely.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I think for sure. Luckily, once I hit middle school, we moved up to Mira Mesa, which is a lot calmer area.
Yes.
And so I didn't have to go through that in middle school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, boxing kept me away from a lot of things that I would see, I guess, some of my peers or other students doing, when it came to drugs or other things.
Mm-hmm.
Because school parties and all that, high school parties, I didn't participate in anything like that, because we were always training. We were always training for something, a tournament or just a fight. And so yeah, like growing up, it was just training, and on the weekends, just exactly what we do now, just resting. Waiting for Monday to get back to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jaime.
I'm just thinking, David, of all these fighters that we've been interviewing lately, the connection between many of these fighters and their fathers. Mm-hmm. And here's another story right there of a dad that understood what he had in front of him, what it meant for Giovani to have his dad there, mm-hmm. and still have him there as part of the training.
Yeah.
That to me, man, that speaks volumes. There has to be something there that I think helps a fighter. Number one, the dad is proud as hell to have his son just stepping into a ring. Mm-hmm. But then stepping into a ring and taking care of business. Stepping in a ring right now and Giovani being undefeated. Stepping into a ring in the future where I see this young man right here with a belt wrapped around his waist. Mm-hmm. Man, that's proud. He's carrying that last name. Very proud for his family. But I just see that connection. I keep on seeing it. Mm-hmm. But then you also have those fighters that are not so lucky, that do not have a dad like that. But there was always someone that stepped in and kind of filled in those shoes. But it's beautiful to see right now that fighters like Giovani, man, Leo Santa Cruz, Teofimo, Danny Garcia. I mean, you have a lot of these fighters with their dad right there, and they've made it to the top. So that speaks volumes to me, and I just see it again. I'm hearing it again. Yeah. I'm seeing it again. There's a formula right here, and that's why I know this young man, not just because he's in front of us right now, but this kid is super talented, I should say.
Yeah.
And he has all the tools. He has all the support, and I just can't wait to see his next fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I think having my dad be in my life the way he has played a huge role. I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. And I think that, like you mentioned, all these other fighters having their dads, I think it's that support system that helps fighters just keep pushing forward. Things happen in life, inside and outside of life, and inside and outside of the ring, and sometimes you need that support system, and for some fighters, it wasn't their dad. It's like you said, someone else stepped in, and for some of us, it's been our dad. And for me, it's been my dad, who's played that a huge role in my life, for inside and outside of the ring.
Yeah. Giovani, I've always lived my life purpose-driven and mission-oriented. Since I was a young man, I've always had goals, short-term and long-term goals. And I know that without a shadow of a doubt, your short-term goal between 1 and 2, 3 years is to be world champion, correct? To be the welterweight
Absolutely.
World champion. I mean, that's why you're striving. You get up at 5 a.m, you go for that long run, you're in the gym to almost go close to 24/7. And so but what are your long-term goals? Okay. Boxing isn't going to be here forever. Boxing is going to be here, but you're not. In 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to say, you know what? My body's had enough. I'm already 2-time world champion, 3-time world champion. And what are your long-term goals? What do you want to be after boxing?
Well, for now, I guess it's just like you said, for me, short-term goal would be that, world champion, things like that. It would even more shorter term than that would be, I want to get in there in my next fight and do perform a lot better than I did in my last fight. I want to show, what I gained from that fight. I want to bring it out in my next one. And so that for me is my closest or the shortest term goal that I have right now. My first goal. And after that, hopefully get closer to that world title. And then when that opportunity does come, is to make the most out of it. And besides boxing, I think about it sometimes, but I've just put so much focus and energy into this right now that this is like what I'm mostly thinking of, even though I know that we have to think about the future too as well, right? And what's coming after. But, I do work at a gym, so maybe possibly opening up a gym kind of like the ones that I've worked at, and helping out kids, and start out boxing and help them, I guess, give back in the way that boxing, has helped me in life, and just offer that to kids and also to other adults. I know that at the gym, working with adults mostly now, just boxing and being there it does so much for them. It gives them that. Everybody's always stressed, especially nowadays. 2020 has been a crazy year. So whenever the gym shuts down, everybody panics a little bit. They it's like that's their second home. They love being there, and so maybe open up a gym someday.
Good. What's the name of the gym? Throw a shout out to your gym. What's the name of the gym you're training at right now?
The boxing club. I'm actually wearing their shirt right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it says boxing club. We had 3 locations down here in San Diego.
Which one's the one that you train at?
I go to all 3 actually. I work at the one in downtown in East Village.
Okay.
And, but I train at all 3. We have it in there's one in Kearny Mesa, one by the UTC Mall, La Jolla area, and downtown.
Wow.
Giovani,
okay.
I see Giovani David as a future promoter, man.
Yeah.
If you notice, he's just talking boxing.
Yeah.
So I think boxing just in general is in this kid's future. You see him as a manager, as a promoter. You could see that that's where his heart's at, and then he also knows that that's what kept him off the streets and kept him focused. And that's what I kind of see in this young man right here. That's pretty awesome to see that much passion and love for the sport.
And are you going to school, Giovani? Are you going to working on the AA, going to college? Because you speak very well. I mean, you speak very well. I mean, are you taking, certain courses at right there at Mira Mesa College?
No. I did go after high school. I did go to Miramar for a little bit.
Okay.
Probably like a semester or 2. And then we turned pro, and I decided that I guess I wasn't for me, at that moment.
Yeah.
And just wanted to pursue this. No, but thank you. I appreciate it. But I haven't been going to school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something that you might want to consider. I mean, this is a grandfather in me, seeing my grandson. I mean, telling my grandson, you know what? College, man. I mean, they could take your belt away. They could take your car away, take your house away, but they can never take your education away. And I think Jaime is a good witness to that. Right, Jaime?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, if you can. Take a class here and there.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. And maybe something in the future, maybe 2021, that I'll take up. I have my 4-year-old son.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
So as a part of myself now, I think about that in his future.
Yeah.
And what I'd want for him. And, I'd want him to try all types of sports for sure. Teach him boxing as well. And but school, number one, I think is school for him.
Yeah. One quick question. We're almost finished, but one quick question. You're looking at a familia que acaba de llegar de Michoacán. They're living in Logan Heights, and their son is struggling because the gang members are trying to recruit him. The drug addicts are trying to recruit him, and the mom and dad are learning English. Both of them have to go to work. What advice would you give those parents, and what advice would you give their son to stay away from gangs and from drugs?
For the parents, I think that's a hard one for the parents, but I think just trying to be there as much as they can for their son, and being able to always be there and listen. I think that's important, being able to be there as that support system, and being there to listen to them. Because I think that's important. Sometimes I think kids or teens might feel like nobody is there for them, listening, or cares that they're even there. And for the son, just knowing that, like, even though their parents are off working, they're working for them, you know. And I think that's something that in my life, growing up, anytime a decision came or something was happening where I could do something bad or do something right, I would choose right, just thinking about my parents and how they came here to the U.S. and to work for me and for my brothers and sister, and that I can't let them down. You know, by me doing something bad, making bad choices, I'd be letting them down. And for me to make a bad choice is me being selfish, you know, and just think about them, you know. And I think when it comes to making choices, you know, and doing the right thing or the wrong thing is thinking about others, and not just how it affects you, but how it affects the people that love you.
That's great advice. Yeah. Jaime.
So I just wanted to ask him, who do you want, man? Who do you want for the next fight, Gio?
Right now, you know, my dad and I talk about it all the time, and I just want to fight. So anybody, you know, out there that my manager or Top Rank puts up there for me, we want to take that fight. You know, we want to take that fight, and we want to look good. I don't want the easier fights anymore. We want the bigger challenges. I think that, you know, I'm 28 now. We need to take those bigger challenges. Now it's time to take that step up. And especially after that last fight, I want to keep the ball rolling.
Who's your promoter? Who's your promoter right now?
So we're working with Top Rank and Thompson Boxing as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Jaime.
No, what I was going to ask him is so right now, let's say he, 2020 is almost done. Do you see your next fight in the early part of next year? I mean, are you talking, are your promoters talking to anybody now? And like I said, styles make fights. I was going to get to that. Your style, what style do you think in front of you would make an explosive fight right now for fight fans to say, hey, this kid right now needs a shot at the title?
I think me beating a fighter that is aggressive, that comes forward at you, that also wants to get a knockout win. I think that would bring a lot out of me, having to fight that, and I think that would make for an exciting fight.
Who is that right now, Gio?
It's a lot of fighters.
Is it Virgil Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz?
Any one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Bring it on, huh? You just want to bring it on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I'm hoping that we're able to get a fight early next year, because it looks like, you know, 2020 probably won't be getting one, but we've been training, because I don't want to get a call in 5-6 weeks and you know, not be ready. We have to be ready. So
man, we got Thanksgiving, brother. We got Thanksgiving. Yeah. We got the Christmas tamales coming.
I'll hit my miles before that.
Yeah. Man, you know what? We can't wait. Right before your next fight, we'll bring you back on, and we'll say a prayer for you, and anything helps, right? I mean, I'm just playing about that, but you know what? Yeah, definitely, man. We can't wait to see you back on in the ring again, and it's gonna be great. Now, you were gonna ask him about his top 5, Jaime.
Yeah, let's see who your top 5 is right now, Gio. Top pound for pound.
Oh, top 5 fighters, pound for pound. I would say pretty much the same ones that people are mostly talking about. Like Canelo for sure is up there in my eyes. Crawford already has accomplished a lot. Tyson Fury as well. I would say Errol Spence is up there too. And Lomachenko, even though he took that loss last week, I think he still has accomplished a lot. He still can do a lot in the sport, so I would put him up there too.
That's what everybody's saying, man. We're all staying on that, and it's funny because no one's saying this person, without a shout of a doubt, is number 1. They're always saying Crawford, Canelo, Crawford.
Yeah.
You know, it's a toss up, but I think here in this early part of next year, hopefully we get some good fights out of these. We'll be a little bit more, you know, decisive. I don't know if that's the right word, but more of a confirmation on who should be the number 1 pound for pound. I mean, everybody was talking Loma. Loma was taken off the hill, and Theo went in there. Fimo just took care of business, and so I mean, I got to put that kid in there too. I don't know, you know, where he's at in the top 5, but he's very close, if not a 6 right now, creeping up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he beat the best of the best, you know. was a huge win.
That's a huge win. So you gotta put that kid in that mix, you know, and I see a big future for him. I would love to see a tank fight with him.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see it. I want to see that.
No, a lot of great fights for 2021 for sure.
Yeah. You know what, Giovani, I'm not a prophet or a son of a prophet, but a great fight that I would like for you to fight for a title would be against Yordanis Yugas. He just won a vacant title. I think that he's from Cuba. He lives here in Miami. And I think he fights for PBC. I don't think he fights for Top Rank, but I think that would be a great fight for you. And I think that you could definitely showcase your style and bring back a belt to beautiful San Diego.
No, I agree. Actually, now that I think about it, that'd be a good fight. I would love that fight.
Great fight. Yeah.
Hey, just let David know, Gio. He'll make that trip for you and personally deliver that message.
Yeah. I'm sure he watches the show. Yeah. Hey, Gio, thank you very much, man. You know what? Please, we haven't met your mom and dad, but you know what? They must be really proud of you. We're very proud of you. And you know what? Make San Diego shine, brother. And you know what? Make that name Santillan shine. And thank you. Muchas gracias de nuestro corazón for being on our show. De veras.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, man.